Yeah, that should do her. Good morning, everybody. Oh, there's my second volume. There we go. Good morning, Brian. What's going on, Mason? Yo, Semper. Spencer, Semper, what's up? Mr. Delta, what's going on, boys? Morning, Terry. How's everybody doing this morning? Hopefully good. We had a little rocky start. I almost didn't make it, boys. we lost the head gasket in the old work truck today, the old Eco Diesel. Even though she's all tuned, deleted. Very unreliable trucks overall, but on the way home from the shop and then at the gym, we popped her, boys. We popped her. So we got to go get the other truck. But that was a little ordeal this morning. So we might be on the fly a little bit here this morning. We might be a little unplanned, but I think we'll be okay. We got some stuff to talk about on all of our swing and everything else. We'll get there. Oh, crap, hit the wrong button. Oh, there we go. Good morning, friends. Text tales. Yeah, it happens, man. It's all part of life. Good morning, Beezer. It's the 72. What's up, buddy? What's up, Spencer? Can't even see half these. Mr. Proud, what's going on? What's up, Joel? It's all right. We're going to talk. I'm going to try to get into here. We're a little late. We're a little on the fly. As I just explained here, we got a little truck incident. One of my vehicles had a little mishap. It's all right. We're buying a new one anyway. It's about time. I don't buy new things, especially for dailies, for a very long time, so I like to run them into the ground. So this has been time for a new truck anyway. No big deal. That's life. What's up? Good morning, everybody. Hi, what's up, Steph? Alrighty, guys. Let's get into it. So today's class, we're going to hop into the swing call, and everything is a little bit of a recap from the swing and how our market conditions kind of played out with that swing, okay? So anybody that's not familiar or that's new or maybe just didn't see it yet, we had a swing call, right? And that swing call, we had an absolute bottom on, and my gap systems are the number one things that we use for magnets and swing targets. Now, gaps, we're going to start right here on the weekly, and weekly gaps do not stay open. So if you go to a weekly chart here and we come into the max time frame, you might have something way back in the history of forever somewhere on, you know, like a trading view or something like that. So we're going to talk Thinkorswim only. We're going to talk real charting only, real data. So follow along on TOS. Make sure you're on the right platform. To be specific, so don't be on TradingView or anything like that. So what we're going to start with is gap magnets here that we had the bottom call on. So the gap indicator, for anybody that doesn't know, this little line right here that's going to show the gap automatically calculated there by our TOS indicator. Now that's going to be not extended a lot of the time. So we throw these out like this, and then we throw these out like this, and we can price level these all up and kind of seem a little bit easier for now, right? And our swing call was produced from 482.74. And if you notice, the Liberty dump and the Trump rebound candle bottom ticked that exact weekly gap and fill. Now, I'm not going to go over why or anything like that. We have a lot of videos explaining why algorithm gaps are, but we're going to go over why that we picked this one first, is clearly that was the last one open, right? We also had a couple other things down here to note on the daily chart that helped us out a lot. On a little bit of a recap here to the 9/11 candle, right? Some of my favorite numbers. I'm gonna let this thing recalculate here. I think it takes forever to calculate on. There we go. All right, and we do have some daily gaps down there filled. We'll talk about those at the end of the stream. We're gonna specifically sit on these 9/11 candles, no GP candles. So on and so forth, gaps on the daily chart. So 9/11 was a huge magnet for us as well, because this was a no tag GP on the daily chart. So with this Fibonacci on the daily mixed with weekly magnets to the downside, we've seen Fibonacci recycling being able to calculate from the all-time high. So it all started back here at 9/11 candle, and this 9/11 candle was a high-low Fibonacci with no GP that had just recovered the 100 EMA. So we came up from this base where we created the weekly gap, or not weekly gap. We had initial short target, but a daily gap here, pushed up, recovered the 100 EMA all the way up to the highs. But if you look at this specific candle right here, and this was again all-time high, this thing keeps popping up, and then a micro lower high when it came down for the higher low before that big bull run back here, end of 2024. So when we got back over the 100 EMA and created that higher low, that 911 candle was made at no GP. And then on the upside here, 1618, 2618, 3618, 4236 had a cycle, right? We look for Fibonacci cycles, okay? Comes all the way up, cycles to the 423.60. That's usually the end of it, right? 666 on parabolic intraday moves, very different lesson. 423 is usually the end of the long-term moves, weekly, daily. We've seen it peak into a fresh high, fresh low, scam reversal, because it's got to get those stops. It's got to trap those novice longs, right? So when it came up past that 600, hit 613.23, that's the all-time high, right after these couple little failure consolidation points to move any higher on trend, right? So we ended up breaking back down under 605.35 after the all-time high move. And then what did we do? We recycled the Fibonacci all the way down, right? So under the 423, you went to the 3,618, 2,618, 1,618, and to the GP. But something special happened when we shied the GP, and everybody knows me and my recaps yelling at everybody worrying about shying. If we zoom in really close to 313, this was a big one for us, 549.59. Notice the bottom of that candle did not hit the golden pocket of the 911 candle we just did, right? Everybody probably remembers a lot of YouTube videos on that. And then we had an impulse knee-jerk move from the Trumpster exactly at here, 4-2 for the Liberty, exactly at the top of the 911 candle. So we came back up, shied it, slammed down into the GP, a little pop, again trapping longs. But what did we get for structure? Lower low from the shied GP. Pushes back up to the 10, failed the 1618. Liberty Day announcement happened. Giant panic, and then the biggest candle ever for the reversal on Trump happened, and then we found the bottom. Okay, so those are a couple small little recaps that we had. And again, there's many videos on these that we had covered. And when we go back to the weekly, right, thesis of the gap, tag for the fill in the back, and up, 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 and away she goes. Well, that was the bottom call from the 911 exhaustion and the Liberty move, right? But a couple things happen here, and what I want to cover here is what's happening next. I'm not going to spend, again, we spent so much time on predicting this entire rally back up to 3-3. I'm now going to try to predict the backside of this move and what we're going to see next, okay? Because a lot of people are asking for forefront moves and how we do our predictions and so on and so forth. Now, this next week coming in, because that little tiny recap in the beginning here has to do with weekly gaps, you're going to notice right away last week left a massive gap, okay? Speaking of gaps, we're going to drop down into the daily chart right here, and we're going to start looking at those rallies that we had from the 3 down and 3 up move calls, okay? If you're not familiar, the market loves to move in terms of threes. On trend for day traders, for us, we look for higher low and higher high formations 3 times over before a pullback a lot of the time, just more often than not. Of course, anything can happen in the market. It's just a statistical watch for advantage. When we came from this all-time high in the daily chart, we had a perfect drag down move. That's 1. Pops back up. Down 2. That's a fresh low right here. Remember the 911 we just covered. That was the shy. That was the tag right here at 550, right? And then that was 1, 2, fresh low, pop, 3. Now the third move was very parabolic here, right? Very fast. Now into that bottom where the huge Trump candle came. Now we're going to kind of ignore this, that as a high. It's more of a trend move. It was a huge psychological catalyst, right? Biggest candle we've seen ever. And as that popped up, now off the bottom, that is 1, down, 2, down, 3, right? This was kind of a barely down. I was just waiting for that moving average to catch up. So the weekly gap is going to be one of our main focuses paired with the daily gap of this 200. So this is where the prediction is going to kind of start here. We had this magnet to 3-3. And if you're not familiar, I guess I'll cover that real fast too, just in case anybody missed that. 3-3 was my target. How did we get 3-3? If you missed any of the 15 videos we made covering 3-3, 3-3 is a very specific candle. I'm going to spend 2 seconds on this. Why was it specific, right? Why is this candle extremely important, right? 3-3 hit the 100 EMA and was the largest in this consolidation. So the range of the candle matters, which means the high and the low, obviously higher than the 2 predecessor candles and the 2 before it. The 100 EMA right here in the green, we did a break and continuation, and again left a GP. When we leave a GP, that means when you fib out a high-low, the golden pocket between the 38.20 and the 61.8 retracements was not hit. We then moved that fib to the downside, right? And watched her run and run and run, and lo and behold, got super close to my algorithmic masterpiece 666, which is the end of all things here. It's a very, very strong fib, and then we bounced, okay? And then we recycled that up. But the most important thing above all on this 3-3 daily candle was not the 100 EMA, was not the no GP, was none of those things. It was actually this little tag you see right here. It says price level that says 1 minute gap 593.09. There was another one at 590.93, or very close to that were never tagged. That is a 1 minute intraday gap, which means on the 1 minute chart inside 3-3, there was 2 1 minute gaps left open, and then the reaction happened for our whole correction here all the way down, right? So when we started coming back up, we kept saying, and you can check any of the live videos and tons of recaps, I will see you at 590. I'll see you guys at 590. I'll see you guys at 600. I'll see you guys at 590. We were talking about that way down here at the base of the Trump, back over the 200s, back over the 10s, so on and so forth. Only because we knew that the algos are not going to leave those open more often than not. We have a double, okay? So one gap here and there, sure. We might have a sliver gap where the computers had not registered a perfect cent split. You know, it's a 1 penny. These were not 1 penny gaps. We're not looking at 592.21 to 594, 0.22, 0.21. We're not working in a 1 cent increment. These were actually larger cents right here at 3-3. And there was 2, not 1, 2 open 1 minute gaps. So as that came all the way back, that was a magnet, right? So the GP no tag, and then the 100 EMA pick candle and everything else was associated with the magnet as well. But the gaps inside that day were very important, okay? So that was the last tag and last target we had. So on a force up week like this, where the VIX died, and as we kept saying all day, every day on our live stream every morning, we had seen VIX death, which means no VIX, no fear in the market. VIX is a calculation of the fear, right? If the VIX is not high, the market has a hard time going down. So if there's no fear, there's only dip buying. So when we had that large gap up and move, the VIX was dying 6 weeks in a row, okay? There's a statistic out there that shows you if you're on the weekly chart and you're looking at 6 weeks in a row on the VIX, generally speaking, after about 6, you have a higher percentile chance to start a bounce, whether it be temporary or not. We also have gap targets open that the volatility index will return to right here, 36.38 on the daily, and a very near-term one at 21.25, okay? It's also a weekly. So keep that in mind as we go into the prediction. So now for the prediction here on what I see happening for the potentials. Now, this is where I start looking for corrective territories. The 2 biggest things that are now going to be my specific magnet focuses to the downside. We're not talking about anything else upside now. We're going to go right into the prediction. This is how I'm getting this prediction. Ask as many questions as you can through this, and I'll try to get to them, because this is how we developed our trade thesis for over 500 and running the SPY 90 points. This is the same thing. We're going to break it down. Weekly chart start, okay? Large gap that we had just covered, obviously, here. That is the biggest thing. Oh, wrong green. Teal for us. That is going to be a magnet for us, okay? That weekly gap will not stay open. I don't care how high this goes. So what are you supposed to do when you get a market almost 6 weeks in a row up? We had one little red week there as the VIX kind of went back and forth, and we had to consolidate above that 100 EMA on the weekly there. But what do you do with this? Well, after we associate where the main gap is, because first you got to look for gaps, then you move into specific candles, okay? And if we have a weekly gap, numero uno. Number 2, specific candles. Well, the VIX, or I'm sorry, the VIX, the candle here has a no tag GP on the weekly, high low. We're going to fib that out. We're going to turn it teal, because all weekly measurements for us are always teal. Gaps and fibbies. And then we're going to look where this has potential of going. Now, there's a lot of hype and a lot of say around all-time highs. Could it be possible for 6/20/26? Well, it's in the fib, sure. You know, anything's possible there. But we know where the market could also top out and have that resistance beforehand, because nothing goes in a straight line. And we see, ranges like this, straight up, there's still going to be an amount to pull back, right? We can't go in a straight line forever. It's just not possible. So when we fib out that weekly and we see the gap association, we go right to our Fibonacci rules, which I said I would cover a few on here today and beat it into your heads. Once we draw a Fibonacci high-low, we look for two things at the top or bottom, whatever way you draw that candle, at the 100 or the 0. In this case, it is the 100. When we break over the 100, we look for the 1618 extension. The rule states more often than not, when we hit that 1618, we have a better chance to come down to the 100 before progressing to the 2618. That's scenario best case number 1. That is the one that happens the most without outsourced action. So news, CPI, FOMC, something acting upon that, right? Nothing is going to change a regular TA. If it's a boring regular TA, that is the number one thing you look for. Scenario number 2 is when that 1618 never actually gets tagged. We build that Fibonacci box. We go up and notice that, remember, this was our magnet target because we opened up here and we said it'll drop down to the 1618. Why did we say that? Well, if we go to like a, should be able to get it on a 5-day 15 here. Close to. So when we opened up that last week, we had that huge push, right? Obviously. Massive. And then we were over the weekly gap in the 1618. This is where Fibonacci magnets come in. We were up here in pre, gapped over the weekly 1618. So the price action had a better chance to drag down as a magnet, stick itself to 577.52, which is the 1618 weekly, right? Because why? Well, we gapped over it. We never tagged it. And the rules state, if we break out of the 100, right? If we break out of the 100, we're going to the 1618. But what happens when we open up above it? Still, that's still the rule. I don't care. It does not matter. The algo magnet still exists to the 1618. You've seen it play out here. If we open under it for another week and pushing into it, we'd still have the magnet from the bottom side coming up to resistance. But we opened up way up top, right? Well, not way up, right above it. And then we still magneted down before we launched itself up, right? And that was all because of the 3-3. So the prediction for coming into the Fibonacci movements here is going to be over under that 1618 because we still do have open no tag GPs above us, right? So here's where the 2 over unders in the thesis comes from. The all-time high candle has a no tag weekly, right? Now look at that guy. So I'm going to turn him neon green just so we can decipher between the two quick instead of teal. So the all-time high to the downside cycled all the way down. You can see the hits: 1618, 2618, 3, 423, and of course, big old impulse move down to the 666, and now it's ranging back up. So right now at a resistance point, I'm going to use this 217 weekly candle, right? And I'm going to look at it as everything had cycled to the downside. Now we're cycling to the upside, and the two things on the upside cycle not done yet are 600, oh, weird psychological number there, and the GP, 607.87, right? So the golden pocket of the all-time high weekly is going to be our last long T1, right? We'll call it a T1. And again, this is projection for later. We're going to get into where she's going next week. This is macro. So these are our two upside factors. So anything above 577.52, let's say it consolidates up here, doesn't want to fill the gap right away and comes up, you have your targets to the upside, T1, T2, the golden pocket of all-time highs, and above all-time highs, 620.26, okay? Do we see that happening right off the bat? Probably not. But this is for the macro, and we're talking about what? Nothing goes in a straight line. So what do we have to do here? Generally speaking, pull back. And here's where the rules of Fibonacci apply again. The Fibonacci rules, as it walks down, when it walks back up, the 666 to 43 is fast. The 423, 618 is fast. The 2618 to the 1618 can be fast. But once the 1618 is hit, that's the deciding factor. It is super hard for the 1618 to pressure back to the 100, okay? It's just the last extension because you're coming from 666 all the way back to the 100%, right? 520.72 all the way to 600. You got 80 points. So that's a tough deal to get sliced all the way back up, right? So over under is becoming 590.71. Well, nothing goes in a straight line. And what do you guys think one of the best targets and why? See if you get this question here. It's not the weekly gap. We're going to have a potential pullback here, and I'll give you the reason. If you weren't at the end of the day watching here and you didn't see this huge market dump, right at the end of the day, we got washed out, right? That was Moody's downgrade for the U.S. credit rating, right? We went from AAA to AA1 in the United States of America. You got some PPI weakness, retail sales weakness, Also looming indicators that are bad for geopolitics, but we're not talking about those. The biggest one was the Moody Credit Union, because that makes borrowing costs for the U.S. government higher, right? So when the AAA rating goes to AA1, that's a bad thing. We see the downside. Well, interestingly enough, we got that downside right at our long targets, or I should say downside. We got that catalyst right at our 3-3 price target. Magnets the algos, right? So here's that 3-3 candle, and then our magnet algos were up here. 593 is the last one. We tagged that sucker perfectly, right? Because we chopped that GP, squeeze, 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 all the way up. Now all targets for me are hit. Oops, I deleted the wrong one. To the upside. So hat buck on the weekly. I actually deleted the top one, so we're going to go make that again. Oops, extension. All right. So where do you guys think the pullback can go before we head back up, right? Because the 1618 from the all-time high weekly is going to be my specific over-under coming into the week, okay? So we're going to go like this, and we're going to go, okay, well, we got the Moody's downgrade. We got a weekly gap below us. Still can go up. We're going to watch for those confirmations, right? You're going to get that upside here. We get the downside here. What do you think the target is? I'll give you a hint. It's on the daily chart, and it's not a fib. Daily chart, not a fib, and why? Daily chart, not a fib, and why? Give me an answer. We're going to over under the 1618 at 590.95 from the all-time high weekly. What is it? We still have that massive Canon Note GP. Yes, sir. On the weekly chart, that's for the recession coming after 2026. We'll be down there. We'll see you there, Corey. Mark my post. What's Connor say about BTC? We just stuck at the last upper GP consolidation for a bit. I'm not sure. I actually didn't see what Connor said about BTC. Retest break of trend line. I don't have any trend lines on. What, that might be your target. That could work. 10? 10's actually not a bad answer, but it's not the 10 in this one. Weekly gap is not it. It's not the 10, not the 100. It's on there. Nope, no 100. We do need a 100 EMA back test, but that's not the one I'm worried about. There's something right before that. It's on the screen. You're dead right. You're right about the moving averages. You're just on the wrong one. You guys are correct. You guys are probably just not seeing it. 200. Yep. Brian, so let's look at this real specifically, real close here. My peach dash line, it's the salmon color right here. That's a 200 SMA, right? Look what happened right here on the daily chart. The market makers know that coming into a 200 SMA resistance, wink, wink, take a peek to the left, breaking the 200 SMA, retesting the 200 SMA, continuing candles to the downside, confirmation of weakness. But they knew that if we came into that 200 SMA, right, the Trumpster knows, everybody knows. They planned the news perfectly for the big gap up, right, on this new week. Why is that? Well, if we came back to that 200, she might actually start trickling down for some of those daily gaps we left down here, right? And the no tags, and, well, I'll go over this last one here in a minute. But those are some really, really, really big obstacles to come back down to. The 200 being the biggest obstacle of an over-under. Now, look at, they gapped it. They absolutely gapped it, and it's inside a weekly tag. That is the number one thing I'm worried about the most. 10 SMA is also a good answer because of the loop. So 10 SMA is also a half good answer because once we break over the 10, we gapped it right here. So there's another kind of trend. We did tag it right here. It's not a full gap, but we didn't like pressure through and then back test a clean trend trade of price action over the 10. We did gap it though. And look what happened next time the 10 SMA was reacted. Gapped the blue 10 SMA, up, 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 price action pull, tagged SMA, continue, right? Then of course, 100 EMA, small back test, push, consolidation, consolidation, and then poof. It wasn't about the 100 EMA anymore right here. That was our long target with, temporary upside when we were coming from the huge Trump pump candle. We wanted to get back to the 100 EMA. We needed a back test. That was our answer back here. Because again, confirmation magnets are key. We broke the 100 EMA back here. That just happens to be what? Oh, our long target of the 3-3 we keep talking about, right? 594. And then that 100 EMA break back tested here. That's a magnet. The same thing is going to happen here. So we need to come back and test the weekly gap, which again, we knew that one was there. We did that chart, and 200 SMA. That was a little bit of a sneaky there, right? Gaps don't fill first time. They have more often than not. That's correct as well. Gaps have a higher percentile chance not to fill on the first tag. Okay. We have lots of gap lessons and videos teaching that as well. So, well, what's next? Well, we have our over under. So here's the trade call. Coming into next week on all of this massive Moody stuff right here, we do have weak, what else do I have in my notes? So we do have weak economics from the PPI and retail sales. That's way below expectation. That's fine. That's no longer looking, at risk off either for that. But the U.S. credit downgrade from Moody's downgrade, we suffered through this a few years back too. It's the same thing. So if anything is going to be playing out the same, it's going to be at that. And the over under that was hit, one of those final targets, I do want to point out here too, that was hit right there in that 1618, and it could not stay above it the next day because all I had to do is magnet or gap. And what I mean by that is the after hours. So you see it tag right here. That was the real back test of the 1618, which means the next target is 600 as long as we're over that 1618. But nothing goes in a straight line, and we need to kick back down. This is euphoria time, right? This is you guys are just starry-eyed at this point, right? And RSI is getting pretty hot too. Not to mention we did come from that weekly bottom. I think I mentioned it, but if I go to the weekly chart here, this is also how we pick the bottom. Whenever you see a weekly RSI, hot or cold, there's a really good chance to sell the opposing. So we sold puts down here because of that weekly RSI. But yes, so let's see here. Gas and fills time. Am I right in thinking this is a massive squeeze to the upside manipulated by the egos just pushing everything up? I mean, the number of no-trade GPs. Yeah, of course. This squeeze has a lot of things to do with it. If we sat down and talked about all the psychological catalysts coming back up, the trade war and the Liberty Day was here. It was a huge tariff. And what happens in a tariff supply shock, right? Do you guys understand like tariff supply shock? When a company has tariffs, or if you're a big corporation and you sell goods, cost of goods is going to go up, transfer of those goods is going to go up. So you do what? Well, if tariffs are coming and they're about to implement them as a business, it is in your best interest to purchase whatever inventory you sell at a very high load and store it. So you don't have to do, so let's say I own a store and I sell clothes or whatever, and all my tariffs on my clothes that I sell are going to go up 20, 30, 40%. Well, I'm no longer going to keep 20% back stock of those clothes. I'm going to buy 400% extra clothes to avoid those tariffs, right? So that's what we get that shock of supply and demand. Right? That's one of the catalysts. Two are the tariffs. Look at the trade wars. Look at the war tensions. Look at the headlines. Look at the Zelensky fight. Every single other downside that we had suffered from this, psychological catalyst reversed. But psychological catalyst, to me, like in the news, that's fear, hype, and greed, right? That only creates speed and volatility. I'm more worried about technical. I'm a better technical trader than I am a psychological trader, even though I do come off as pretty good reading the site. I just don't feel like I'm one of the best psychological sentiment traders there are. I'm really good at magnets and gaps and algos because I understand how computers work, and I understand how they would like to take out retail traders because, well, I've been taken out a few too many times over the course of 15 years in this game. So that's where we program ourselves to understand where the magnets are, where they can be, what they have to do before they do another thing. That's one thing we have to know, right? So the technicals here, it's not, I wouldn't have to say like purely manipulation. This is hype, fear, and greed. This is the way the market moves. Like the knee-jerk reactions, it's just fear, hype, and greed. Manipulating it straight up like this is just really good buys, right? And the craziest thing about this, if you look at statistics, let's say we go back in and dig into the the bar chart stuff. Let's say we go into the psychology of, or not even the data points. Let's look at retail versus hedge. Hedge funds lost their ass on this. Hedge funds were underwater. They were reshorting back under here. They were in the red. The retail derps, us, bought this shit up so heavy. We actually beat them this time. So more often than not, retail will lose this battle. So manipulation, not necessarily. It's not clean by any means, and it's a force up, yes. But was it purely driven off that? Well, I don't know, because I think it's hype figure. It's just the Trump market, right? But to me, in my head, when I'm looking at this stuff, it's all about the 3-3. And you can go back on any of those videos. I'll find a few in post on X, but I told you guys 590 was coming because of the double 1 minute gap. Those are just magnets, It's not so much manipulation in this area of effect as to where it would be these algos, these gaps have to fill. So the price action has to drag back here eventually. That's why option selling is such a grand design. And shout out to my buddy Rob. He's in the chat still here. He's right there, front load. Exactly, front load as well. He taught me a lot more about these spreads, about the credit spreads, about the sells. So slow playing those has been one of the biggest big portfolio builders we have. So as this comes down, we get huge deciding factors, and then Trump starts going like this, blah, 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 blah. We get a huge correction where we're seeing, moves like this. It's in your best interest after a 20-point correction to start selling puts, no matter what. And with the Trumpster market, that psychology is just psych ward in itself, trying to predict a tweet. So we have to remember in the whole psychological scheme of things here to protect yourself from Trump tweets. That's one of the fear hype ingredients that I go into every single day. What is this guy going to tweet today that is going to ruin my life in the market? And when is he going to do it? Like, does he speak today? Do we have a random press conference? Is he going to fly off the tilt on the fingers on the tweet deck? You know, it is what it is. So yeah, so just to recap here, and if you got any questions, I'll answer them now. It's already been about half hour, and now I got some other mechanical stuff to worry about and do today here, and some shopping to do for vehicles. Please run out any of those questions. So last bit of the prediction here, I just want to make sure you guys got a dialed in view. Next week, okay, we were going to go over under 590.95. If we are staying under this, right, and we have good reason to, our first target, let's go to the daily chart here, and what we're anticipating to see the algos do. Actually, I want to see if you guys can answer this. What are we anticipating for this pullback? I'll give you, how am I going to ask this? Target is going to be back to here. The target's actually going to be pretty far, the weekly gap first tag. So what I'm going to say is short under 590.95 coming back down. What is the system that has to do with a moving average that you will see this pullback do with the 10? I don't know if I want to see it, that make it that easy, but option selling is much higher probably. I love option selling because you can just manage. You can just roll to win. That's what Rob taught me, man. It's great. If you trade the futures, would you do the same analysis in ES or do you use analysis SPY? So what I do is I actually only use the ETFs and I trade futures off the SPY and QQQ. I do not care what ES and NQ are doing unless they have a gap on the 1 minute or 5 minute chart during live trading. When the ETFs are open and all stocks are trading, obviously 500 of the S&P, 100 down the Qs, I only pay attention to those. Those algos will overrun any amount of futures algos you have. They will correlate, 10 points on ES, 1 point SPY, 40 points on NQ, 1 point on QQQ. So you can do the math in between if you need to, but I literally trade only off SPY and I'll trade NQ and ES off SPY, depending on what the divergence is. But I will only pay attention, especially at the end of pre-market to live trading, I will only pay attention to SPY. SPY has the pre-market algos. You can look at some of our recaps and what are algos, which we're going to go into a little bit more detailed structure videos now because I'm going to start putting in the description what we're explaining in each one so we can find the videos again because I'm real, great at influencers. Option selling is the best. Yep. Learn to sell puts. Warren's little secret. Absolutely. That's the big wheel. The loop. Yes, sir. Thank you, friends. 10 loop. So I'm sure my members in here knew exactly what was going on here. A 10 SMA moving average loop is when we broke over the 10 SMA right here. We have trend. Now look at the price action. Let's go to a little cleaner chart here. Let's just make it clean. Ding. The blue 10 SMA right here gapped over here and then pushed up as trend. This is just a trend down. I like the 10 SMA because it runs very good on every time frame for trend, right? So it got over the 10 here, tested the 10 at 5.7, and then continued with the gap and go. Now a loop is what we're going to look for. Now I'll show you what a loop is right here, even though I have videos in my live lessons. You can, or it's actually in the indicators we use, the moving average lessons on how to scalp moving averages. This loop on the 10 SMA needs to happen. Here's the 10, right? To the downside and back up. So we broke over it, rode it. It needs to come down, break under the 10, fill some of our targets to continue to wherever it wants to go. That's the loop. Well, here's an example right here. This is a loop to the opposite side on the downside. This is one that we had called here. Here's the 10 SMA to the downside. Here's just the opposite. It broke through the 10 SMA, stayed under the 10 SMA, stayed under the 10 SMA, jumped over the 10 SMA, failed the 10 SMA. This is the loop. The price action looped up and over, faked everybody out and continued. More often than not, it does that, right? But it only does it once. Pay attention to that. Only use that trick once. Do not run it twice in a pattern on a trend, okay? I don't care what time frame you're on. Don't do it twice. Only use the loop one time. You hear me say this a lot. First tag algorithm metrics matter the most. A first tag is something where confirmation comes back in and creates an opposite reaction. A first tag would be something like this, where the price action broke through the 100 EMA back here. And the first time it returned to the 100 EMA right here, we had an opposite reaction to what we were seeing on the chart, which was uptrend, 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 hit, downtrend 3 days. Well, not really trend, but pull back for 3 days. But because of the first tag on 5.2, that allowed us to come back down, right? First tag, right? on the back test. Same with the 200 SMA right here. Breaks the 200 SMA in the peach. Back test, first tag. See ya. All the way down, okay? So for that loop, it's a first time usage. Let's look at the downside again here on that loop. Down, pops up and over, snaps, and then look at the next loop. Here's that loop again. Higher low, see ya. That didn't loop and continue at all. Only use the first loop. So we are still in an uptrend. We could still have it unless we get some kind of world-changing news. Remember, we cannot plan for fear, hype, greed, and Trump tweets. That is not us. Okay. Last but not least, I didn't know if I was going to give this out on YouTube. Why not? Screw it. We're going to give away some accounts. These algos, I talked about this in private, but I've talked about algos enough on here where I think it doesn't matter. I'll give you guys these guys. If you haven't seen them, I'm very adamant on watching 512, 513 algos. Look at this pre, look at this after hours. They are notably very matched. If you fib these out, they're almost identical. Move them to the right. Look at that cycle point, 1618, back to 100. But of course, we shied it. So take that as what you will. If we come down to that 1618 and end up holding down here and coming back up before we go down, remember these two algos. But inevitably, I think next week, this is going to be one of my big watch zones right here from those two algos. And that's overlapped, so it's not like you have to have that one on if you come to the daily chart. Bam. Okay. It's just another thing to look for. We stack catalyst here. So you don't have to have that one on the chart. I just want you guys to understand what algos are and what you're seeing them. So those long dedicated wicks, again, think or swim only. This is not trading views. It's not any of the think or swim. Well, you can get it on Tasty Works, I think, and Interactive Brokers. They all have correct data as well. But these two wicks, the golden pocket, GP, not tagged, 574, 576, all lines up with, you guessed it, daily gap, 200 SMA, 10 SMA. So regardless, I'm still going to go under 594 down to here for next week. I don't think the gap filled, but at least we'll come into it. That's what it's going to look like for me, if you guys didn't see that or not. We've been at the park, at the store, shopping, now the way home. Nice, dude. Can't respond. Precious cargo. Oh, for sure. Absolutely, man. The most precious cargo, for sure. Got to keep them safe. Sounds like a fun day, brother. All right, well, I just want to do a little bit of a recap there. We had a kind of a cut short day because I popped a head gasket in the truck, so I'm going to go buy a brand new truck. I'm going to hit the dealership now and go buy something else. So we're going to go and give away some accounts. So if you commented on any of the YouTube videos this last week, we're going to go to the YouTube comment picker. And I'm sorry, this is a little bit messy. It wasn't planned as much because I had so much to do with this dumb truck here this morning and yesterday and the day before. Everything just comes in, you know, once in a while. YouTube comment picker. So let's give away some cold hard cash since we don't see the T word anymore here. Those jerks. And yeah, if anybody wondering, we don't trade a Top Step anymore. They swiped all of our money. They stopped all of our 11 grand in payouts because of, for no reason. You can check my X post. It gives me it says for the reason of, and then it's just blank on the email. They just didn't want me making the money I was making. We were averaging $30,000 to $40,000 a month for 3 months straight. So they have the right to ban you at any point in time. So for any reason. All right, guys. 2 days ago, we'll pick this one right here. $5,000 day. We're gonna throw this up and we're gonna give out some winners. But I'm gonna cover it in a video either tonight or tomorrow. We'll go over what Top Step did, and I'm trading with Top One now, and I'll cover all that this weekend for sure. Latest tomorrow. All right, we got her 2 days ago. Cummins, yeah, it's probably time for another 2,500. I'll probably buy another big one, 2,500, 3,500, depending on what we got to be towing here for the concrete company. All right, guys, if you commented on any of the videos, there was only I missed a couple, 1 or 2 days or on a couple, so you got a lot more chances here. Shauna Galati, I will mess that name up. If this is your name, Shauna Galati 4041. You have won Saturday price action. Range of sketch. Dude, I 100% remember that. That was a chop. Garbage. One of the winners. Please reach out on X. $50. I'm going to give away 3 of them today. Why not? $150. 3 is a lucky number for today. Isn't it 8 day? It is an 8 day. 13 overall. 4-8. This is a hardcore day. All right, let's give away some money. All right, we're going to do another video giveaway. So if that's your name, please reach out to me on X. Shoot me a screenshot of your name, that you're subbed and all that good stuff, so I can send you some money via PayPal and Venmo, my friend. All right, 2 more giveaways because I feel like 2 is just not enough. Let's give away more. Slow play the entry. This is what yesterday's video, Friday's video. If you commented on Friday's video, we're doing that one now. Let's give a giveaway. Let's get to it. Do we have to math again? Yeah. Hey, look at that. 808 day. 21 of you have a chance to win. One more of the accounts. Let's roll her. 22-8. Oh, okay. Nice. Pub fake, all in caps. Fibs, baby. Love it. Please reach out, buddy. We're going to give away another one. One more. So if you're here, we can do it right away. Reach out. I'll explain it. Yeah, sure. Why not? We got time. It's only 11:41. I'll explain it at the end of the giveouts. I got more than enough time to do that. 22-8 day pump fake. If that's you, brother, reach out, man. You win. All right. Last but not least, we're just gonna do the same video. Why not? We'll pick by another way. Giveaway, start raffle, pick another winner. All right. Last but not least, $150 worth of the giveaways today. But well, thanks, RNG. Let's try that one again. Perfect RNG for pump fake there. Back-to-back win. Oliver's. There's a primo chat. I know that name. I think he's even in the stream. Congrats, buddy. Please reach out Discord since you're in our private group. And you just won 50 bones, buddy. There we go, brother. There you are. What's up, man? Congrats, my friend. Another BRT member winning. Should we give away one more, guys? It's a 4-day. I feel like giving away 4. That's the money. What do you think? How many likes do we have in the video? I'm just kidding. I don't care about that shit. Let's give away one more. Screw it. Tasty out those algo candles. Yep, 100%. Yeah, of course, buddy. Let's go. One more. Let's make it a 4. Let's make it one more. Why not? And then I'll explain a little bit of the top one if you guys want to hear it. All right. Same one. Friday's video. Let's do another. Previous winners. Remove. Pick another winner. Not Oliver's, not Pump Fake, and not the name I cannot say. If I don't win, game's rigged. All right. If Mason doesn't win, it's rigged. Let's go, Mace. If he wins, I'm ending stream. That's what I was hoping for. I got a comment on the Elgo. The random comment picker didn't pick me. I think that was the comment I read before stream with Ideal Life today, and she actually commented that I wanted to give away one more, and I was hoping that would be the name. Ideal Life. She stops in a lot, comments on a ton of stuff, and is actually a talented trader. I've been through some of her trades and a lot of the fibs. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I'll reach out to you on X or leave a like or comment. That's a familiar face and name to me. So another $50 winner. PayPal, Venmo. Let me know via X. You also have my email. And that's that. If I win, double it. Give away 100. Give away 100 accounts. All right. Rob is going to sponsor the next 96 accounts starting right now. Robbie, I'm going to need you to PayPal real quick here, bud. 100 accounts. Give away, $100. Oh, maybe that's what you meant. I could have did that too. We'll do that next. We'll be coming up to that. No problem, Textiles. All right. I'll cover top 1 futures real quick. If you have any questions for it, let me know. This is top 1. It is literally the exact same as Top Step X. There's no difference. Top Step, and they call this one Project X. It's just a browser extension that integrates TradingView into the browsing settings. So anything you want to know about this one, I'll just cover a couple of the key differences, okay? Any of the key differences here. What was your question as I roll up here? I forgot where we're at here. When you go over to top 1, can you explain the instant account payout process? It says 14 days or anytime. Okay, so at checkout, you're going to want to make sure you have anytime clicked. So if I go to the top 1 website and I want to go start trading. So here's your top 1 homepage. Make sure it's this one. There's a couple other weird ones that are named top 1. Make sure it's this green emblem here. And if I say start trading now and it wants me to buy a combine, this is what you're talking about here for the instant funded. There is no trial periods. You don't have to pass a combine and go to Express and pay all these fees, whatever. You can go right to instant sim funded. That's what I did. Okay. Now, when you have instant sim funded, obviously pick your number you want. Okay. I did the 150s. I hit continue. Okay. Obviously you're going to fill out all your stuff right here. And then you're going to go to apply your coupon code. You got this works right now. I'm going to get my promo code. It's not this, but you got this works. And then when you apply that, it's going to cut it in half. And that's how much your fee is right now. And these are your modifiers right here. Anytime payouts, click it. And no daily loss limit, click it. They are running a promotion right now. They are both free. And then when you check out, there you go. That's it. That's all I got to explain. All right. For top one futures, a couple of the differences here. There is a 20% consistency rule for your trading. Okay. So if you are a profitable trader, come on over and go ahead and pay that fee if you want. I'll bring up one of my metrics here on my login. How do I get to it? Yeah. Okay. There we go. So here's the dashboard, and a couple key differences here on top one. So this account, I have 7,551 in. We had 11 grand. Why is that? 3,500. We took a payout, right? We got our payout. It is in my Rise Pay account. It is actually over here. They paid me. All I got to do is move my $3,500 into the MEX. So I got my first payout. We're good to go, right? Here's all my trade days. 100% consistency with the 0 reds. Thank goodness, right? 21, 15, 8, 9, blah, 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 blah. I added up to 11,000. As long as your consistency is below 20%, you have anytime payouts. So I took a payout of 3,500, which means my consistency went from 19.8% up to 28.78. And all I got to do is keep winning consistently to knock that down under 20%, and I can get another payout, right? So what I did is I jumped in and I grabbed, you can only have 3 live accounts. So right now they're $400. I bought as many as I could. If you notice right here, it says them right here. One of these is a sim. I don't know which one it is. Where does it say practice account? Somewhere else right there. I don't know why it doesn't decipher it so I can read it over here, but it's ends in 4720. So this one is the sim. That's not, oh, it's 100K. Okay, so that makes sense. So I have 350K funded express sims that are payout immediately. Max payout is 3,500 on the 150K accounts. That's why I went for the biggest accounts, because that's the biggest payout. So we trade it the same no matter what. But here's the difference between top step. Here's a couple of the key feature differences, okay? The 150 account, you get a max payout of 3,500. You can have 3 of these accounts, okay? So you still get over 10 grand a week if you can get your consistency dialed in and you're a trader. You can still make 10 grand a week here max for 3 payouts. Then they'll move you to live, or you have no restrictions. I forget which one it is. I think it's both. You have a chance to. So after your 3 payouts, you can actually move to the live, and then you have no restrictions, right? Now, the key difference is you can actually swing these. Top Step will close you out, cancel your account most of the time, steal your money if you leave those open a lot of the time, and they won't. You can swing positions here. You can leave a contract on, just let her go. Let her go bonkers, okay? So you can do that and let the swing. Number 2, combine to express. You can pay your way to these accounts right here, which I did. $400 per account. We got 1 payout already. This account balance is now at 7,000, whatever it is, 5 something. So that consistency is going to keep going up. And once you get that 20 again, you get another payout. So those 3 accounts at 10K are all you can do for pass pay. You can do combines, okay? Or whatever they call it, trials. If you don't want to pay the $400 up front, go ahead and grab a trial and then pay the fee at the end. It's still going to be less than $400, but make sure you click those modifiers that we covered at checkout, okay? Number 2, there is no restrictions like Top Step for traders. The only rule is consistency. This is actually the best thing about Top One besides swing trading, and what's actually the 3rd best thing. They're not having to wait and pass a trial. Number 1, awesome. Number 2, no rules on consistency trading, just P&L consistency. So what I mean by that is, like, everybody knows the Apex scam. Don't only use 2 to 3 contracts. You can't trade back. If you go backwards X% and you're red 800, we're going to deny your payout. None of that exists here. Just like Top Step. No crazy trading rules. You can do whatever the hell you want. As long as you don't blow your shit up, they'll pay you out. Okay. Last but not least, there's no restriction on contract size. On Top Step, they limit you until you hit a certain amount. So even after you pass the combine, even after you pay Top Step your express, you still don't get a full account through Top Step. They limit you to 2 contracts on a 50K where you're supposed to have 5. On this account, I obviously paid my way right into the instance, right? I get full 15 NQs right off the bat, no restrictions, with a $5,000 drawdown for $400. It's double the price, or I'm sorry, it's 100. Wait, if I was trading the 150Ks, let's just say at Top Step, they're $150, 150 activation, that's $300. Why not pay the extra $99 at Top One and just deal with the 20% consistency and never have to worry about a combine and never have to worry about the wait time or anything else, right? So those are the 4 biggest things that I have takeaways on. You don't get the payout anytime, or what does it mean? Just you get paid out fat. I got paid out in 10 seconds. Yeah. As soon as I set up Wise, I emailed them. I said, hey, I got my Rise or Wise or whatever the hell it's called set up. It's open on Saturday, today. They paid me today after I emailed them 20 minutes. So they paid me today through Wise. It's faster. It's way faster than ACH or anything else, because the Rise payment, or I think it's called Rise payment, you can hook up your crypto wallets to this. You can hook up your bank account to this. You can do whatever you want with this here. So it's instant pay. Like if you request your payout, you can talk to a real human right away. That's another thing that TopStep doesn't allow you to do. You email them, boom, support's on deck. They are super fast. Why? Because they're not as big as TopStep yet. So they're going to have that availability to talk to you right away. There is a max payout. I think I already covered that. Yeah, max payout, $3,500 on 150Ks. Yep. They also pay in crypto. Yep. You can take your crypto wallets and crypto ETH. Yep. How many days do you take a payout? It's all about consistency. I think the fastest you can do it is 4 days, but you just got to do the math and consistency. They also have the calculators right on top one. So it's just got to be a 20% consistency. You make 10 grand, you got to make 3, 6, 9, 10, 12. You got pretty much 5 trade days. It's 4 or 5, depending on what you make for what your consistency is. Every single trade you make, if it's green, your consistency will get lower and lower and lower per day, right? But there's a cap, right? You can't make 3 grand and then make 5 grand and then make 8 grand. Your consistency is just going to go up, right? You're trying to prove to them that you can make a green consistently over time. So what I did is I just made a rule for myself. I'm going to make a shit ton of money right away. So those first couple days I made 3 grand, 2 grand, whatever. I made 5, 6 grand. And then I trickled down and I went 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. And that was, it's easy for me to make $1,000 with 15 NQ contracts. That's a blink of an eye, right? So I ran it and I built myself the cushion. I took a couple big trades and I just ran it up to 1,000. I just kept making $1,000 a day until the consistency was under 20%. It took me 7 days, I think, because I made too much money right away. It's all about the consistency. So buffer, nope, none of that bullshit. As long as you're over your minimum, you can withdraw into your stop. So that minimum, like my stop, like if I went down, if I trade tomorrow, my consistency is under 20% and I take out again, I can go underneath my 5K. Yes, they'll allow you to do that unless they change that. And I don't know about it because they were doing some rule changes. As far as I remember when I read through it, yes, you can dip into that. So if you really want to just come here and knock out 3 accounts, you withdraw all your money right away. Okay, fine. If you don't want to go to live, yeah, absolutely. There's no buffer. I just set your max profit at, you can do max target lockouts too, as Cook's Delta is saying right there. So if you want to make $1,000 a day, you want to throw a big trade on and watch it whipsaw. Cook's Delta posts some really nice P&Ls in chat, so I know he's cooking. But yeah, if you come into this right here, you can set up a lockout. I don't want to click that. I don't know what it's going to do. Daily loss. Yeah, you can set a daily loss limit if you want to. The maximum amount for an account you lose in a single day. Is 37.50. I don't know why that says that daily loss limit. I don't actually, when I checked out, I have no daily loss limit on my account. I don't know why it says that right there. I'll have to contact them because I opted for the no daily loss limit. I've never reached negative 37.50, I guess. So I've never hit that, but I don't know why it says DLO. I do not have a daily loss limit on these accounts. I paid to not have those. So I'll have to ask them. Max profit target. Yeah, for sure. I just like, yeah, I'll just cook for like $1,000 a day. It's not hard for us to scalp out $1,000 a day. We've been doing this for a decade and a half. Consistency, we kill it, man. We absolutely kill it. No buffer. Is it easier to get away with 1 NQ and not get hunted by using 1 to 5 MQ? Between the contract sizes, that's depending on trade style and setup, but I would rather use MNQ, especially on TopStep if you're limited. If you have 15 contracts at NQ to use, I'd be fine with NQ on top one, but it would really depend on what I was doing. So I'll give you the 2 scenarios. Let's say we're funded traders and we're paying on TopStep. We have 50K accounts, only use micros because those accounts are tiny. If you're over here at top one with a 150K account with a $5,000 to $7,000 drawdown like we have, where you're not going to pop anything, I'm just going to use all 15 of my NQs managing because that's what my confidence level persists, right? If I was a cash account user or regular trader, I would just use micros and a cash account. I use micros in my cash account more often than NQ a lot of the time just because I like to play the flow. It's very easy for me to keep in the trade and monitor everything when the action's on. I think you, especially as small account traders, if you guys are building and getting those consistencies up, MNQ all the way. Is there a time limit, 20% consistency? Like how long? Nope, just math. It's all P&L. It's all P&L. I think the fastest is 4 or 5 days. It's all P&L. So if you make 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, I think it's, think about 20%, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? So 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Think of it as 5 days. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, thousands. If you make 5,000, 5 days and back, you're at 20%. It's just percentage math. Yep, no problem. Also, can you just take small scalps? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's P&L based. P&L, not trade consistency based. They want you, it's going to be like, it's green P&L versus red P&L. If it's just green P&L is like Friday, when I tested it on Friday, when I made $200, 0.2% of my consistency went down. When I made 400, 0.4% of my consistency went down. Make 1,000, 1% of my consistency went down, or 10 rather. Depending on what the size is for your account, it's going to be a little different with your P&L, but every trade is registered and you can watch it in real time on your futures platform. So if I log into this, I'll show you like on your dashboard here. Where'd my login go? There we go. So if you are on your consistency right here, every one of these trades right here, like when I made 1250, 180 on those accounts here, this consistency dropped from 20, I think it was like 1.8% or something like that, all the way down to like 19. I just had to make 1,000 more, right? It was 1.2%, and I made 1.2% with $1,200. But if you make a trade and like you get some green trades here, the consistency will update in real time. Sometimes it lags, it's not perfect, but you will get a update at the end of the day. If not, it's trade by trade. My other ones, this one, after 2 trading days, it caught up with itself and I never seen a miss. So yeah, it'll update right here. So this red and black number, when it's red, obviously it's over. So you'll be able to see exactly what you're getting out of it. Yep, we gave away all the cash, my friend. This is the very end of the stream. We're out of here in 2 minutes. But all you got to do on the next one, we give away cash weekly. All you got to do is subscribe and comment on anything I put out. From this coming up Monday to Friday, I put out a video I try to at least perfectly every single day that I can, Monday through Friday. And if you comment, that's it. That's all you got to do. Comment and be subbed. You win cash every Saturday. That's it. Simple as that. I'm using your Take Profit Trader accounts. They allow 6 minis or 60 micros. Yeah, exactly. And that's each firm has a little different articulation there too. And I think Top One, I mean, they just paid me out on Rise. So I can get my affiliate code because I'll be able to join their affiliate program with being a paid out mini influencer or whatever you want to call us. I'm the anti-influencer. I don't care about any of this stuff. I just come to help the community that we can. How long does it take to open an account? Buy your account today? 4 minutes is the longest I've ever waited. There is a little deal though for you. So when you are in, how do I get here? Contracts. There we go. So these contracts you got to sign. Go to the website once you log in. Make sure once you purchased your account, you go to contracts tab. Okay. You got to sign your contract or your account will be paused. So make sure you download and sign the contract, and your account will be open in less than 5 minutes. I have never had mine wait more than a couple minutes. Mine were right when we got our payout on Friday. I opened 2 more brand new accounts, made that $2,500 on those, and I was literally trading in 2 minutes with brand new full funded SIM accounts at $400 a piece because they're running a deal right now. And I just emailed them an influencer setup stuff, so we're gonna get a discount code and trade with Top One now because it's real. We got a payout. They're not a scam. So let's get it. Heck yeah, I hope you're doing right. Toto's been using good. Awesome, good. I hope he's doing really good on my funded features. We're gonna roast some Market Monday. Absolutely, we're gonna kill this short Monday. I'm gonna try to stream Sunday as well. So I'll see you guys back in the future stream. Thanks for tapping in. We're gonna do a longer one. Today was a little bit messed up because of my truck stuff, but we'll get there. I'm going to do a bigger update for my crew. You guys are going to get a different video tomorrow as well. We're going to try to get live, and I will explain the Top Step debacle, even though there's not much explanation. We made too much money. They hate us. They kicked us out, stole all of our shit. So no real explanation needed there. We'll see what Top One does. We want to go live and get an affiliate program and, trade with somebody that actually, wants you to trade. So we'll get there. You guys take care. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys bright and early. Well, actually, we're going to try to do Sunday. I'll see you guys on a Sunday stream. Tune in 5 p.m. for futures open because I want to see how hard that AAA to AA1 downgrade from Moody hits us. on the market because we got a lot to talk about. We'll be live on there. Take care. Thanks for tuning in.